everyone's gonna get negativity.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what size you are. Everybody in the single world is going to get negativity. What the difference is if you work against it.
True. What's up, and welcome to Beside the Point. Today we have an awesome and exciting episode for you. We have Amber Myers as a guest who is campaigning to be the next Batgirl in DC's universe and in their line of films. So excited to ask her about not only the character, but her journey as an actress. Stay with us. Presented by None of This Really Matters. This is Beside the Point, and today it's going to be so much fun because we have Amber Myers here, and if you've heard of her, you know what she's all about. She's campaigning for Batgirl, for DC's solo film, for the character that we all know and love. Amber, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm so glad that we were able to set this up. We were talking via Instagram, and then we were trying to set up your phone and my laptop and everything, and we finally got it here. It's just fun. It's been fun.
Oh, yeah. It was a hot mess, but we got it. We figured it out.
Perfect. Well, I just want to say, first off, thank you so much for contacting us, and then just also being way cool and way nice through texting and everything. And at first I was like, oh yeah, this could be cool, and then by last night I was just so excited to just understand what your story is and what Batgirl is to you, what the whole Batman franchise is to you. And before we do that, I just want to get to know you a little bit more, and everybody who is watching and listening via YouTube and our podcast. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you want to act, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So my name's Amber. I'm from Pennsylvania. My mom lives in the city, so like Pittsburgh area, and my family, like my entire family, is like borderline West Virginia. So I grew up with a little bit of both the countryside and the city side. In Pennsylvania, it's very rare for somebody to go all the way across the country to follow their dreams. And I'd always be like, I'm moving to California. And they'd be like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yes, I am. And everybody would like bully me because of it. And I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to hustle my butt off and go to school. And they're like, no, you're not. We have to get accepted to the school first. So I was like, you're right. So then, in 2014, I graduated, and my mom was so mad at me because I only applied to one college, and it was AMDA, and it's American Musical Dramatic Academy, and it's a full-blown performing arts school. Like, you do stage combat, singing, theater, dance, all of that. And so I really learned way more than any place I've ever went to, in classes before this college and everything. And my mom was like, you need to apply to other colleges because if you don't get accepted, it's like, that's just one college. And I'm like, no, I'm going to get in this college.
And this is before you decided that acting was kind of what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I don't remember, like, the shift I did. I just remember always performing some way. Like, my family would get so annoyed with me because I have 3 sisters. And I'd be like, all right, we're going to put on a play. And my sister hated performing. They'd be like, Amber, no, I don't want to. I want to play in the mud. And I'm like, no, we're going to get dressed up and we're going to act. You know, they're super supportive, but like, I get it. Every day is a lot.
So even though family may be supportive, and you said that you even did have people kind of like come down on you going to California, which, by the way, you did. You're there now.
There now.
Are done with school now, if I'm correct, and now you're pursuing Barbara, which is a character that I think a lot of nerds know, a lot of people who probably listen and watch this, because I'm sure everyone who's listening and watching are probably thinking exactly the same thing that I thought when we first talked, is that who is this And even though I got to know you through text and I thought you're so awesome, which I'm sure everybody listening and watching are thinking the same thing, but who is Amber to think that she can be Batgirl? Someone who is a vulnerable character, someone who is huge, that is much bigger than any other actor or actress that may portray them. And she's really important to a lot of people within this culture. And before we answer that hard question, why you want to be Barbara, why you think that you should be able to have that role, what exactly would you say in a nutshell is your impressive resume that you can share with us so that we can kind of understand a little bit more about you?
Okay. I definitely have never received that question before, but there are so many talented women in this world, women who are way more successful than I am in this industry, that could portray Barbara to the fullest. But what I bring to the table is that for 4 years, I've studied my butt off in performing arts school. I woke up at 7 a.m. and I didn't get home till 2 a.m. every day. Like, I kid you not, about every day, because I would be rehearsing. And everybody who's worked with me in my college knows, like, I do about 6-hour, 4-hour rehearsals. I really, really work hard for anything I want, anything. And I've took stunt classes and stuff, and I think that's another aspect I bring to the table. Not a lot of people do their own stunts, and I'm sure I won't be able to do all of my stunts, but I will definitely be begging them to do most of my stunts. And I definitely think I bring that to the table. Also, the fact that I do my research on the character in the DC world. I'm not 100%, probably not even 80%, but the fact that I'm taking the time out of my day and studying this world and this person, I think it should be known, you know what I mean? Because some people could get the role and know absolutely nothing about that, about the comic book character, and I just don't think that's kind of fair.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people would agree with you on that. I feel like a lot of people who are in Hollywood now, whether we know it or not, probably don't know as much as... Actually, I should probably say guaranteed to not know as much as the fans who immortalize these characters. And for someone to say that they're campaigning to be the next Batgirl when you're a Cinderella story, no, you're an underdog. No one very much knows you, even though your resume is more impressive than I ever thought it was going to be. You're familiar with bigger sets and titles such as the movie The Fault in Our Stars, and you had done a few other things too. I get really rusty though, so could you remind me?
Yeah, I didn't do a lot. It's more like I've been on a lot of big sets and stuff.
Right.
But like I said, my school was really strict. My college did not let us audition or anything because we weren't allowed to audition for 3 years. And the 4th year, I was literally in school nonstop. So I couldn't do really much anything the past 4 years. So everybody's like, you haven't done much. Da, da, da. I'm like, I haven't done much because legally our school did not allow us to audition until we were juniors.
And
because they didn't want to look dumb.
A lot of people listening to this may think that that's bullcrap, that schools shouldn't do that, or that I don't believe that schools would totally do that. That is a lot more common than I think a lot of people think, and that's kind of how things go. A lot of people get really lucky in getting roles really young or when they're not very much known, such as yourself. But really, now that you're in a prime position to campaign for this, I guess the first question really I have is, and share it with us briefly, how does one campaign? I mean, how can I go out and be like, I want to be the next Dick Grayson? Looking at my body shape, it's probably not going to happen, but I could probably work just as hard to try and do it. But how does one campaign to be Barbara?
Oh, hard. It's so hard, and you have to have thick skin. You really just have to never look at the negative, always look in the positive. Because basically how it happened was, okay, this is actually so funny how it happened. Because I didn't know a while ago, like last summer, I didn't know she was getting a movie. I just didn't know. And I get told I look like Kristen Stewart. I don't know. I just get told I look like Kristen Stewart. And so it's like an inside joke with my friend. So my friend sends me this link, and they're like, and she knows I love Batgirl. And so she sends me this link, and she's like, they're looking for a girl that looks like Kristen Stewart to be the next Batgirl. And I was like, oh, that's me, you know, because I was like, love the character, and I look like Kristen Stewart. It's a win-win. And so that's how it started, and that's how I got known that she was having a movie. I was still campaigning even though some directors dropped out, and which sucks. And so yeah, because I actually liked what he was saying.
Yeah, so it
was
was Josh
going for a no name.
I know. So Joss Whedon, if anyone's familiar, who did Avengers, who did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so many other things that I personally love, had also wanted. He was pushing really, really hard to be able to do a Batgirl movie, and when I looked into it more, because I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan. I do like Batgirl a lot, but I'm not like dialed into her life. But I had heard that they were looking for a no name, and I thought that was really interesting. But it felt right, and for Whedon to be on that project, I was really excited. And then he dropped out, or something happened, or something. I'm not sure. I'm sure you're a lot more familiar with it than I am. But I think I'm safe in saying that a lot of us are looking forward to a Batgirl solo movie.
Yeah, me too. And I remember watching his videos, and he would just be like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a no name because I think Barbara you should not look at an act like for Barbara's sake. You should not look at an actor and be like, oh, this girl was in this movie, this movie, this movie, this movie. You know what I mean? And not see Barbara. I want to, like, he was basically saying, I want to see this actor literally just be Barbara. Her story is a lot different than most of the female stories in the DC universe. That's for one standpoint. And that alone should just be focused on some, like, I really like the concept of not looking at an actor and being like, oh, he or she was in this movie, in this movie, in this movie, in this movie. It's like, after some point of seeing actors over and over again, it's kind of like, hey, like, there's other actors who are just as talented, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, or sometimes for me, I look at an actor and all I will see is the last movie I saw them in, and I'll be like, this is, like, not really adding up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, if Brad Pitt were to be the next Batman, it wouldn't work for me, because I would have been like, I saw your butt in Troy. So it's like, it doesn't work. I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's not like the case all the time, but I've noticed it's starting to become a recurring factor. And I really, really think that this whole Hollywood world needs a fresh face who is a little curvy. Because people are like, well, oh, this female's curvy, this female's curvy, this. Yes, they are. But, like, I'm saying that because I'm curvy. And I've never had somebody to fully look up to. There's like a handful, but they don't get cast in these type of movies, like these big action hero movies. You know what I mean? They're all greatly figured, but they're like tall and a little, skinnier. You know what I mean? They don't have flabby arms a little bit. You know what I mean?
They meet the status quo.
Yeah, and Batgirl doesn't have flappy arms at all. But
right.
I think somebody who's a little bit more, I'm trying to find the word.
Spunky.
Relatable.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. That seems
somebody
better.
Who's a little bit more relatable, because not all the girls are tall and skinny and lean. Some girls are a little short, 5'2", curvy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you look in the comics, Batgirl is curvy. She's not like Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is more of a ballerina. She's lean. You know what I mean? Beautiful figure. but they're different women in this world, and that needs to be shown more.
So if we're basing things on looks alone, you probably should get the part. I mean, from my lack of experience, I do know enough to see Barbara, to see Batgirl when I see her. You look very similar to many of the pictures. There's awesome, great fan art that features you that very, very talented individuals on Instagram have done. They look great. You guys can check them out here.
It's amazing. But what I do is, if people send me art, I take it and I repost it and I tag them and I'm like, thank you, this is awesome. I'm like, because I love it. I want to print all of them and hang them up on my wall in my room because they're just cool. And no matter what happens, it's just cool to me. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Because people take the time out of their day to do that, and I'm like, geez, it's insane.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool that you have fans yourself to want to help you to accomplish your goal. But I think it is cool that not only you yourself, you say that aesthetically you fit the part, but other people see that as well. And many different interviews that you have done, many different photos that I have seen, your voice sounds right. You look the part, and you seem passionate enough, and we can definitely talk more about why you think that you should be considered. But let's talk a little bit about the character in itself. I think a lot of people, like you said, you as a fan yourself, you feel like somebody who's going to portray this person should know the character. So I'm not going to ask everything you know about the character, but there was a great question that was submitted in from one of our listeners, one of our viewers, named ComicManJake. You can go and check him out at his YouTube channel. But he said, it was a little personal too, but I think it will talk a lot about how you know the character well enough, and that is for you to portray any of your, Barbara, for you to portray her, what are some of the things that she went through that you can pull from to nail that character, to do her justice, and to honor everybody who idolizes her?
Okay. Well, I'm going to just say the first thing that popped in my head. Now, I've never been paralyzed, but I've been paralyzed in a way because back in 2015, 2016, I got diagnosed with costochondritis, and that is it's chronic, so that's a severe chest pain. And every morning I was on a lot of medication and pills for it. And I remember when I got rushed to the ER, I looked at my mom and I was crying. I was like, I'm never going to be able to do action movies, because that's really what I want to do. That's another reason why I love Barbara. Anyway, off topic. And so basically what that did is I couldn't flush the toilet. I couldn't lift anything. I could barely walk. And so that happened for a month, and the doctor told me, he goes, you're gonna need to stretch, you're gonna need to do yoga and take these anxiety medications because you are diagnosed with chronic costochondritis. And when I get inflammation, I can't move. I can move a little bit, but it's do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to pick up a water bottle without it hurting. So I'm not paralyzed the way Barbara was paralyzed, but I'm paralyzed in a different way. And so when diving into Barbara, I can relate in some form of being stuck. Being the fact that because at first she was very sad. She was like, what the heck? I can't do what I want to do anymore, And that's what I felt.
Why do you think that is so important for you? Why is that such an important thing, an aspect in your life to have, to play this character?
Because in the Barbara's whole life, everybody knows Oracle. Everybody knows she turns into Oracle. You know what I mean? that's mostly everybody loves her as Oracle more than Batgirl because it shows that strength she has, and people can look up to that. And so what I bring to the table is like I can relate in some form. And so if I get the role or whatever, I know the pain in a different way.
And that's important for you to be able to act. Is that a method that you use?
Yes.
Very
yes, I would
so?
bring that back. I would remember the pain because, like, even in recent scenes that I've done with, because I was doing the glass menagerie and stuff, and I had to bring that pain back again and the remembrance of it. It's just like kind of like an acting thing. But I really think that's one big thing I could bring to the table with Barbara is I could relate to her in some form of that way.
So you can relate to her physically by putting yourself through that. So how do you relate to her emotionally, mentally, personally? How do you relate to her in that sense? Who is Barbara, first off? And how are you similar, or how can you relate to who she is?
Barbara's a sassy queen.
I like how you did that sassy, by the way. That was
She is so sassy, and she knows exactly what she wants, And people always tell me, Amber, I love you. You have the biggest heart, but you are so blunt. And I'm like, that's just who I am. And then Barbara's like that, biggest heart, but she'll tell you how it is. She doesn't let people walk all over her. So it's just kind of like people. My friend, he always tells me, he's like, you're like a walking Barbara, like a real life walking Barbara. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because she just doesn't take crap. You know what I mean? But then again, she has a big heart. She really does. I
think that somebody who lives that way can easily portray that character the same way that they live their life. And I'll take your friend's word for it. I'll take your friend's word for it by saying that you are a walking, talking Barbara, which would be great because I think that that's what the character needs. Because she's not a character that I think stands out as much as the rest of the Bat family does in the general public.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think she's honestly really normal in a different way. Because when it comes to like computers, technology, and tapping into things, like she's just really smart in that aspect. Like the one thing Barbara and I don't have in common is she knows how to work computers very well. As for me, I don't know how to work computers. I'd rather throw a computer across the room if it's not working. So that's the difference.
I mean, that's okay because I feel like we all do that. That's definitely what we were trying to do when we were trying to set this interview up. That's okay. Yeah. We got past it, which is great. But the thing is that if she's such a relatable character in personality, in the pain and vulnerability that you can relate to as well, I'm just going to ask it. How are you going to be able to do and relate to and exude what have you been doing now? That's a better question. To try and live up to the athletic part of who Barbara is.
I love that question.
Great, because I just made it up.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I've always been into working out. Like I said, I am a dancer not first, but first in my life, 3 years old. So I was always athletic, kind of like an athletic built with a little bit of curve, hourglass, you know what I'm saying? And so I used to be like in and out of working out. I'd work out so hard for like 2 months, and then I'd take like a 2-week break because, we're human, and I'd get back into it. But Barbara has actually been motivating me. I have been working out every day. I usually have a day or two of break. And sometimes I even do double days because I ate ice cream the other day, so I had to do a double day.
Dang.
So, yeah. So I work out basically almost every day. I do sometimes double days.
2 a days. That's nuts, by the way. Those of you who are sitting in front of your TV and laptop or sitting down listening to this, you should take inspiration from Amber here because I don't do that. So good on you.
It's not all the time. It's not all the time.
I can guarantee it's more than me. So continue making us all feel guilty for how overweight we are. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, that sounds like a lot of work. I mean, I'm sure it takes a lot of dedication.
Yeah, and I am exhausted. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm like, I have to be in shape. I don't have to be skinny, but I need to be shape. I need to be in shape. I need to be able to, run if I do get cast, and I need to, you know what I mean? Be able to kick high, And I want to be physically fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, my boyfriend, he is a gym trainer, so he's been training me. So that kind of pushes me too, which is great. But yeah, I train at the gym. I eat fairly healthy. I'm trying to cut meat out and dairy, but I love cheese. Yeah, I kind of eat what I want. I don't drink sodas. I don't do any of that, because in the back of my mind, I'm always like, I would never want another girl. I don't want this to be the reason I don't get it, is because I'm not as fit as somebody else.
Right.
Because not talking about skinny, I'm talking about fit.
Fit, because you are in control of that. You can control that.
Exactly. Fit enough to run a mile if I have to run a mile. That's what fit means. And that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to do things without being winded. So I work out a lot.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So with all of that, we have somebody who submitted in a question. Daniel from the Stuff of Legend. Not only has he submitted in a question, but he has also done an interview, question and answer with Amber that you guys can go and check out on his channel. He also does a lot of fan casting stuff on his channel. He recently did the Bat Family. Go and check that out. Amber is not mentioned because she's such a Cinderella story that when she came to us, we thought, man, we need to change everything. Because she's perfect for Batgirl so far that we've seen.
Thank you.
But I'm going to take the time to turn it over to Daniel from the Stuff of Legend. Let's see what he's got for us.
Hey Amber, it's Daniel from the Stuff of Legend. Ryan, thanks for having me back on. Really excited to be with you guys here on Nerdy Blurb TV. Always love being a guest here. How old were you when you first discovered the character Batgirl, and what was your first impression of her? It could be anything from comic books to TV shows, movies, animation. What was your first encounter with the character of Batgirl? Anyways, thanks again, Amber, and thanks again, Ryan and Nerdy Blurb TV. Really appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys again right here in the comments section of Nerdy Blurb TV, and again on my channel at the Stuff of Legend. I'll see you guys next time.
My impression and the first time I discovered her. The first time I discovered her was with my mom. And I say this all the time. I'm like, I love Batman so much because of my mom. Because your parents influence you as kids. And she loved Batman, so I loved Batman. And then I actually loved Batman when I realized, what's Batman? Because when you're young, you're just like, oh yeah, he's fighting. He looks like a bat, He's cool. But as a kid, you realize what's going on. You're like, oh wait, this is deeper than what it actually, is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't remember the exact time or year that I found out who Batgirl was. It was just kind of always in my life, if that makes sense. Yeah, and my first impression was when I was a kid is I wanted to be her.
That you wanted to be her.
Now, I wanted to be her.
So did you, I feel like I know the question to this. Did you grow up on the cartoons, the animated Batman? Because it's okay if you didn't, because I didn't. Because I wasn't on that. But have you seen the show?
Yes. I actually think I missed that for some reason. And I was my mom wasn't strict, but I was only allowed to watch certain channels. And people were like, well, I thought you just watched Batman. I'm like, yeah, but I still was only allowed to watch certain channels, certain movies.
So as a character in general, you relate a lot to your own family. You connect. Barbara is somewhat your own family because of how how much inspiration you've pulled from your mother. So
Yeah.
it's almost as if you belong in the family. The question I have for you then is that, and I understand that you are not in control of any of this, but it would be fun to know kind of your own impression and thought of how, if and when there's a Batgirl movie, and if and when you become that character, how would you want that movie to go? Because you can't have a Batgirl movie without Batman. So we need to have Batman and all of that. So how would that go? Now, I'm not saying don't tell me the entire plot and everything. I'm just saying...
little points.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I definitely would want everyone a little younger. So that's one point. I like that. I like that concept. Maybe, honestly, I really like how she works at the library, and maybe she's going for her job, and then she's in college, and she has because I don't want the Batgirl movie to be surrounded by Batman. I don't. I want it to be mostly about Batgirl, and then Batman influenced a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because otherwise it'd just be another Batman movie, which is cool, but it's kind of disrespectful to Barbara.
Well, if it's a Batgirl movie, it should be about Batgirl.
You can't be solo movie, Batgirl, then Batman has more dialogue than she does.
Right.
What? That's not a thing. So definitely, I think it should be surrounded by her life, her library experiences, her work, and then maybe school. I think seeing who she is in school and how she handles the two lives she has. You know what I mean? One life she's with her girlfriends, and maybe there's sketchy situations that happen, and you know what I mean? Some of her friends are what's going on? Kind of like the New 52. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the life when she's Batgirl, with Batman, and it'd be such a cool... Oh, I'm getting chills. It'd be such a cool, epic scene. She walks in, and you just see Bruce, turn around or something. And then that's his entrance in the movie. And everyone's oh my gosh, it's, Batman, I don't know, I'm fangirling right now.
and I think people will appreciate that, because you said it before, I've said it before. The ones portraying these characters, us as fans, we want them to geek out just as much as we do. And you definitely do that. I definitely feel that. But the thing is that this is the biggest question that I wanted to ask you. This is the number one question, other than why you. It was this, and you touched on it really, really well, about how she's normal, she's relatable, and that she's an important character that should be done justice. And with a lot of the, I don't want to pull politics into it, but a lot of the women in Hollywood, or everybody wanting to be represented, or any of that, this is a really important movie for these people who want to be represented and feel as if they were part of this character. And so, first off, as a woman in Hollywood who's trying to make it in Hollywood, who's actually been in movies before, how has that been, and how has that kind of helped you to hopefully become this character?
Yeah, so being on big sets and not being a main part, it's kind of cool in a way. I would love to be the big part, but when you're starting off, you kind of sit back and just watch how everything goes. And so I think being a woman in this industry is very hard. It's definitely harder for others than myself. In a happy life, I wish everyone was treated equally, equal pay, equal dialogues in movies and stuff. But, I hate getting into politics.
And you don't have to. It's just that I would, because of her being such an important character, how are you going to make that important not only for women, but for everyone who loves the character.
Yeah, I want, like I said, I want women, kids, men, anybody to look up to Barbara, aka me, hopefully, and just, I don't want her to be perfect, because she's not perfect, because she's human. You know what I mean? She doesn't have superpowers. That's the reality of it. She's a human. Therefore, I want it to be simplistic and just simple. You know what I mean? And that's something I could bring to the table as a female, curvy, athletic woman. New face. But being, like, I don't want to dive into it, but being in this industry and is very hard. It's about who you know, and sadly, it's about how many followers you have, and that sucks. It sucks. But I have really strong faith. I'm just gonna keep going. Like, and all reality is everyone's gonna get negativity.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what size you are. Everybody in the single world is going to get negativity. What the difference is if you work against it.
True. And and it's not about politics for me at all. It's for me trying to figure out if you understand the gravity and the importance of this character to a white male, to anyone, really, because this is a character.
Yeah, to anyone.
This is a character that, like you said, that she can be looked up to by anyone and everyone.
Anyone.
Someone like you, a known name that we had already covered, can portray that. Somebody who tries to live their life, like you had said, should be able to be that kind of person. And somebody to understand the gravity and understand the character themselves will not only be doing it for themselves, but they will be doing it for everybody who does admire the character.
Yeah.
So
and that's the importance of it, is bringing the character to life.
So
that's the importance of it, because her comics, like, the comics show so much of who she is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like okay, now put that on the screen.
And hopefully we get that. Hopefully that's in the works for that. Hopefully we see a movie with that. Things change in this industry all the time. You and I have talked about it. If it turns into a TV series, if it keeps it as a movie, or if it anything else, you would still want to play this character.
For sure. No matter what.
It's more the fact that you want to be Barbara, because you already are Barbara. But it's because you understand that character. You understand like we said, the importance of who she can be to all of us. And I just want to wrap things up by just asking how important that is to you. We covered it, and we've covered how we think that other people should have that background. But how can you, with all of that behind you, with all of that powering you, how will that make you the best Barbara that everybody should get behind?
Well, for me, I look up to Barbara, like, every day. Just, for example, like the working out, you know, that she pushes me. It's so crazy that a comic character can make you become such a stronger person. And so in this journey because as actors, we dive into the character. And so it's kind of like this weird thing, because as I'm learning about her, I'm diving into her, and I've noticed I'm starting to get a little bit like tics that she does and stuff. And if I can look up to Barbara there, like, I know I can, and I'm feeling it, I know I can become Barbara on the screen and have that same energy that I had with the comics, what everyone else had with the comics, and they could look up to me on the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And
I was like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just like, it's like kind of like a circle with me and Barbara. Like, it's just like, I don't know, she's taught me so much. She really has.
And I'm glad to hear it. And I think that a lot of people listening to this will also agree that that's what they want from somebody who's going to portray this character. I wish you luck, honestly. Like, I definitely, first off, appreciate you coming onto the show, talking to us about your life, getting super personal, maybe a little political, but that's okay because it's all a lot of fun. We like being able to meet new people here on this channel. Those of you who are listening and watching for your first time, please support the nerd culture by either subscribing or, even better, find Amber and support her in her campaign to be Batgirl. If you think that everything that she said here is something that you want in the character of Barbara Gordon as Batgirl, go and look her up and go and share it with your friends. Not only that, but please be sure to just get the word out that somebody is actually perfect for the role, and maybe it could be this awesome person. Amber, thank you so much for coming onto the show. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for everything, honestly. For believing in me.
Well, yeah.
Truly.
Well,
for
thanks.
believing in me.
Well, yeah, of course. And, like, seriously, if you ever want to come back on the show again, when it, like, even if you are Batgirl, that'd be kind of cool. And just kind of talk comics or whatever, or just talk about your life, or talk about Barbara some more, you're definitely welcome. You're definitely welcome here. Those of you who are not familiar with Amber, you can go and check her out at the links that you see below in the description. She has an Instagram, a Twitter. Are there any other things that you would like to plug?
Go check my IMDb out. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
No. That's basically everything. I just have Instagram and Twitter.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, also, those who made the fan art with Amber, awesome stuff. You can check out their information down below as well. Go and follow them, like their stuff. Go and check out Amber's Twitter. She'll definitely be keeping everybody in the loop with her campaign. It's been really fun to follow along. And not only that, but subscribe here for a lot more stuff. We cover a lot of nerdy content here on Nerdy Blurb TV because we have nothing better to do, and we neglect all of our responsibilities to do this. So we appreciate the time that you've given us today. Thank you guys so much, and until next time, we'll see you again.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in here today at Nerdy Blurb TV and checking out this video. Consider subscribing if you're into this kind of stuff because we like to keep it nerdy here and interact with cool individuals such as yourself. Have a great day.